From the process of constructing our media product, I've learned a lot about technologies. I used a few technologies. I've used photo manipulating softwares. I've used the video editing software, and to publish our work online, I've used Blogger, which is through the internet. I used Photoshop to create a theatrical poster for a movie, Dog Tag. I did this on Photoshop because it's a well-known software, and it allows you to experiment with different tools and how you can make a poster better, as well as having a lot of layers and making a professional poster. Within Photoshop, I also created 5 other different posters to advertise our possibility of advertising our film. We used our theatrical poster again, placing it on different locations and to advertise our film. This was also done, all these 5 posters, advertising ones were done through Photoshop as well. I also learned a lot about Photoshop. I already knew, but I learned as I used it, learning about different tools and how you can use this to create this type of effect. Therefore, I chose Photoshop to create our main theatrical poster, as well as 5 other different locations of where we could advertise our movie poster. I've also used the video editing software, iMovie, which is standard on all Apple computer laptops and computers products. This again I used, didn't know how to use much of it, but again I obviously played around with it, experimented on ways I could use this to create a video. I used this to edit 2 of my analysis, which I done from the research process. I used iMovie simply because it was already pre-installed on my computer, and as well as it allows me to put together my footages for my analysis, as well as showing different types of effects, meaning overlaying videos to explain what I've done. I've also used iMovie, not a lot, but I would say I've used it quite frequently. But again, I did develop my knowledge on iMovie as I progressed. I also used iMovie to edit my 2 questions for my evaluation. Again, this is only simply because I wanted to use iMovie, simply because it is known to be easier than other software such as Adobe After Effects, and simply that I just wanted to put together all my footages, and I didn't want to really edit much. And iMovie does allow simple effects such as putting footages together, overlapping images, showing what you're talking about, putting images on top of videos on the side. Therefore, I used iMovie, and I used Blogger to publish and show my work. This was done through the internet. Blogger, again, I had heard of it, didn't really use it much up until now. Used it to publish all my work, which was done throughout this process, and I got used to it. And at the start, I wasn't very sure on how to use it. I mean, in terms of how to publish work online, how to publish Word documents, videos, and yeah, as this process went through, I developed on how to use Blogger. As I said, I heard of it, but I didn't really use it. So this was the few technologies I used. Again, I used a Canon DSLR 500D to record all my video footages, which were the 2 film analysis from the research part, and the 2 evaluation questions, which I done through in a video format. So overall, I found that constructing a media product filming process was very difficult. A lot of time needs to be included, and a lot of effort and hard work needs to be included as well. Photoshop, when I used Photoshop at the start to create posters, it was very difficult. I mean, to create all these images into one and creating one professional looking poster, this did take up time. I mean, through in terms of layout and where I wanted a title, where I wanted the image, showing what is the main bit of the poster. I mean, I did try doing different layouts, meaning putting the title on the top, putting the title on the bottom, in the middle, to see which one looks best. And at the end of the day, I did what I felt looked more professional, including every element and convention that is required in a poster. So therefore I used Photoshop, as I had know how to use it, and as well as me having software on my computer. So therefore I used this to create up theatrical posters. Again, iMovie to put all my footages together, displaying, overlapping other videos on top of others to show what's going on within the video, and as well as showing different images, stills, placing them on different areas of the frame where there is space available. And throughout the whole process of the film, a lot of technologies was included, but however, these are the 3 technologies I had used personally, and I found that, like, progressing through from start to beginning, I have actually learnt a lot on technologies, and as well as knowing what I had to use from the start, because I had a brief overview of what kind of process was required throughout the entire process. I mean, we did have to make a film opening, so therefore we had to split ourselves up onto who was doing what. I mean, we did have a team that had skills in all aspects and all the fields. So therefore I tried my best using all these technologies and adapt my personal skills, producing a professional work standard, and as well as developing my ideas and my knowledge on different technologies and softwares. Yeah, as I said, iMovie I've improved. I'm knowing more on, and I've also becoming more frequently. I use it more frequently, and it's getting easier for me as I use it. The more I use it, the more easier it's getting for me. The same thing with Photoshop and Blogger. I didn't really use Blogger up until now, as I said. So therefore, that was one of the technologies I think that I've improved most on, in terms of publishing a Word document, a presentation, putting up a YouTube video on your blog. Therefore, I think Blogger was the most improved one, where I felt. And again, Photoshop, I did have knowledge, as I had used Photoshop previously before this task. And yes, with the knowledge I already had, I tried to create the best possible looking work according to my standard. I mean, I did want to make it as professional as possible, which I did at the end of the day, experimenting with different layouts and different ways, researching on about what tools are, where could they be used, how I could use them, and also using filters, simple filters such as brightness, contrast, the saturation effects, which give a totally different look just by allowing that to be used. I mean, not all pictures were used naturally. I mean, some were edited. I mean, that's what is required. I mean, so therefore I used Photoshop to create a movie theatrical poster. I used iMovie to create all my video content, which was required as a video format, which were the 2 film analysis in the research stage, and the 2 evaluation questions for my evaluation, and Blogger to publish my work online. And that was really it. I used these 3 softwares for manipulating software, a video editing software, and an online publishing software called Blogger.